I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and this week we are in the kitchen at Rozzelle Court at the Nelson Museum with their executive chef, Dwight Hawkins. Dwight, thank you for inviting us into your kitchen.
Thanks for coming.
This is an extraordinary place, and you must be very pleased to be working at one of the treasures of Kansas City.
It's a beautiful room. The first time I walked in, I was, of course, after I was paraded by the Pissaros and the Van Goghs
yes.
on the way to the office. I thought I could probably fit in.
You can fit in here. Let's talk about the journey to here. Did you always know that you wanted to be a chef?
No, actually, I started with, when I was 19, I started working for Long John Silver's, of all places.
Okay, beginning.
And they had a great training program, and I worked up to a manager of my own store.
So it wasn't just the cooking, it was the restaurant business, the industry itself.
And it was really important that the managers knew everything, and because that was what you were expected to run the store and run it for a P&L.
Okay.
So, I did that for 7 years. And then, I was kind of getting burned out on the fast food aspect of that. So I bartended for a couple of years, and then decided that I really kept falling back into these hospitality type things. I said, well, if I really want to do this, I need to do it professionally, and I think I need to go back to school. And I met my wife now that I've been married to for 25 years. And she knew about the Johnson County Community College program, so I went out there and talked to them, and started working at the Adams Mark Hotel, and was there for 7 years. I stayed in the hotel business for 10 years.
So you went through the training program at Johnson County Community College. Right. They've trained some remarkable chefs. You are one of them. So then you went from there to hotel restaurant. Right. Okay.
And the Adams Mark was a huge property. They did a lot of banquets, and so we had a fine dining restaurant. They had family style dining restaurants. So we got trained in every aspect of the kitchen.
Okay.
The chef I was working for just so happened to use a lot of fresh product. We didn't, we made everything from scratch.
Not true in all hotels.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we had our own bake shop, so I was able to work through the pastry department and make breads, and we made all the breads for all the restaurants, even the French bread for French toast.
Okay.
So it was a great training.
You've had some wonderful experience that you bring here to Rozzelle Court. So did you go from there to here?
Actually, I worked for Radisson Hotels for a while, about 3 years, and then I went to a large event caterer. And so I learned how to cook food. We were cooking food from 800 to 1,500 at the Adams Mark, but now the numbers were 3,000 to 4,000.
So let's talk about your time here. Now you're executive chef, and so that carries it with it the responsibility of staff, and of course you're that inspiration for them. But unique setting here at the Nelson, and the foods frequently match some of the events. And you just mentioned Egyptian art. What did you prepare for that event?
Well, now that we have the computer age, you can go to, I don't have to just read regular cookbooks. I can go to Cairo.com and see what's going on in the restaurants, in Cairo. Not getting it secondhand. You can just pull it up. You can pull up their menu pages, and then you can dig a little deeper and try to source all the ingredients. And sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge, but you're doing falafels, and you're doing shawarma and all the street food, and you find out a lot about the culture. And that makes it a lot more interesting.
Oh, and that has to be so exciting, because art from all around the world, down through the ages, and so when you do events, you try to stay to that culture and, when possible, that time in history?
Sometimes, if you can, a lot of times what you run into is that type of food has been passed down for generations to generations anyway. So it's been around for a long time, It's not, I really don't do too many medieval spreads,
So they're grabbing the food and throwing the bone over your shoulder.
But, I like to find creative ways to do the mom and pop foods. just the things that have been passed down, and try to do them in a creative way.
Give me an example of one of your favorites from an event here at the Nelson.
Well, when we opened the Eternal Egypt.
Yes.
It was a very, very huge.
Exhibit.
Not that. No, that one's one now that's permanent. But when we did it before, it was a traveling exhibition. It was one of the biggest things that was probably still the biggest exhibition draw.
I remember that.
Since I've been here.
Amazing. Yes.
We even had a tent outside, because we were doing the Society of Fellows, or I think the Young Friends of Art was actually 1,500 people, for an event. And I was doing falafels, but I was doing them in small appetizer portions. And I didn't want to do a box mix. I mean, I ordered hundreds of pounds of fava beans. And
you did it.
And we did them all ourselves. We did them all from scratch, and it was fun. It was just to be able to learn about another culture and to try to stay true to it as much as possible. So that if somebody came in and you had somebody that was really from the Middle East tasting your food, that
it would be reminiscent. Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to be there. I can't copy what their mom would do, but I can sure try.
Yes.
And that's just how I learned. I mean, I really like to, each exhibition that we try to do food that's very, that's really reminiscent of of whatever that exhibition is.
How exciting, because that is keeping you, I'm assuming, inspired in a way that you wouldn't necessarily have in another venue.
Since we're always trying to keep things new and fresh and alive and seasonal, that we change it all the time, especially with our Friday nights, that we're just...
And let's talk about that. This year, 2010, Friday nights are different at the Nelson. And what did you all set out to do?
Well, when we were planning, we're trying to find a way to do something different on a Friday night, and I think that this room just screams. I mean, it's got so much. The decor is just beautiful. We thought that we could do something like a price fix menu, so that we could do a set amount of first courses, starter courses, and like a choice of 3 entrees and a choice of 3 desserts, and do it for a price fix, and then just rotate it. Rotate I just think of these things, 2 or 3 weeks out. I'm always looking to see what's coming in. I'm talking to the produce guys saying, are peaches in season, or Vidalia onions, are they there yet? Can you sustain me, 60, 70 pounds of heirloom tomatoes all summer?
And that is a thread throughout our many award-winning chefs here in Kansas City, that the produce is driving the menu.
It really does.
Because you're keeping it seasonal, you're keeping it fresh. So these Friday night dinners are about seasonal cooking.
Absolutely. I'm always looking to see what's new, what's out there. New angles on old classics. We were doing a Caesar salad that we were doing a warm poached egg on. There's, and just to think about that, that probably works pretty well if you like Caesar salad,
It does.
And I thought I would love to try to do that. And so I'm always trying to come up with different creative ways to present, because to me it is art on the plate.
It is.
But not only does it have to be beautiful, it actually has to taste good.
Absolutely.
And all the flavors need to work well together.
Yes. So what keeps you inspired is seasonal.
Love seasonal.
And apparently just capturing the different ethnic groups that are represented here in the facility with the artwork.
Absolutely.
And down through the ages.
It's just like if I feel like I'm getting stagnant or I get bored, we just pick a culture. I say, why don't we just see what's going on in Brazil? Why is Brazil so hot right now? We are a nationally renowned art museum. I just want to complement their whole dining experience, their whole museum experience with well-prepared food, seasonally done. But I think it shows that we can always ride the trends if we want to do that. And I'm more about just, artistic and flavorful presentations. I mean, that's that's my cornerstone.
So that's who you are.
I don't have to do frost. I don't have to do foam. I mean, I get it. You know, I get it. But you know,
that's not what's going to happen here.
Right.
I think you should go down to your kitchen and make that pan-seared salmon with all those incredible fresh vegetables, your basil vinaigrette topped with those edible flowers. Why don't you come with us? Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and this week we are in the kitchen with Executive Chef Dwight Hawkins. This is the kitchen of Rozzelle Court at the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. Chef, thank you for inviting us into your kitchen. I'm very excited to make this dish. It is fresh, it is seasonal, and it's delicious because I've been picking at it. We are going to make a pan-seared salmon with chopped fresh seasonal vegetables, a basil vinaigrette, and top it with those beautiful edible flowers. So, Chef, to begin with, and as you mentioned earlier, this vinaigrette can be used all week long. So,
you know, it just makes at home. I make all my vinaigrettes because we don't really appreciate the store-bought dressings.
not when you can do this.
Yeah, these taste so, especially in the summertime. And now you can buy the basil that's still living. It's still in dirt. You put that on the counter and you keep picking off it all summer long.
It's heaven. Okay, Chef, so now we're going to make vinaigrette, which really sort of ties all the flavors together for this dish as I munch on a piece of basil. So what do we begin with, Chef?
Well, we're going to just tear off some of these basil leaves. I don't want to take it down too far because if I was going to actually use it again, I just want to take it down to where the fork.
Okay, so we're removing the larger leaves.
And then what happened, and this will send out two pieces.
So it's sort of pruning the basil.
You are pruning the basil.
We are pruning the basil. And if you have a living basil like this, it just keeps giving you more and more basil.
Absolutely. All summer.
And it's gorgeous just to have in your kitchen.
Okay, we're going to use about that much. Just maybe a cup.
All right, a cup of basil.
Since we're going to put it in the food processor, but it doesn't hurt to use the stems too. You can just, the stems go right into it. They still have
just a little more flavor.
Right?
All right, then what's next?
We're going to put some vinegar.
What kind of vinegar is that?
This is just white vinegar.
White vinegar, not white wine vinegar, but regular white.
This is,
still
because this has only got 5% acidity. Like some of the balsamics and some of the white, they're less strong, like 6%. And you have to remember that when you're making dressing, or else your dressing is really acidic. And then if you normally would use 5%. So,
all right, so we're using a plain distilled white vinegar. Okay, next ingredient.
I'm going to put just a little bit of garlic in here, but see, I don't want the garlic, the raw, in your face kind of really garlicky flavor. I just want a little bit in there.
Okay.
So.
A little bit, what is that, a clove?
It's like a half of a clove.
A half of a clove.
It goes a long way. When it's raw, it goes a long way.
Okay, and then?
Okay, then we're going to put some, this is just whole grain.
That stone ground mustard. All right, that adds such depth of flavor to a dressing.
And then we're going to put in, this is coriander, it's ground coriander.
Fooled me, I couldn't tell what it was. It's from the cilantro.
Okay, now we're going to put some granulated garlic powder.
And I want to point out the distinction between powdered garlic and granulated, because the powdered garlic can get bitter, and the granulated has a wonderful flavor. Okay.
And I do that, I mean, the flavors, you can't just use them interchangeably. I mean, the flavor profiles are different. There's a lot of recipes that I will use regular garlic and regular onions, and then also add granulated garlic and granulated onion powder, because it's different. You get the toastiness with this because of the way that you dehydrate it. You just can't, can't overuse it.
So you can use both and get, a more complex result.
More layers of flavor. Okay, so we've got
fresh cracked pepper.
And then we're going to go ahead.
Kind of
this is just kosher salt.
Kosher salt.
We're going to puree all this together.
As it is right now.
And we're going to add the oil to it. Okay, and then we need to put in the honey. And honey is an emulsifier. It's been used. It's been used for ages as an emulsifier. And of course, it's going to add a little bit of sweetness to it, but I'm trying to balance out all the acid from the vinegar.
Okay.
See, I'm just trying to get layers of complexity, and so that the dressing's not all acid, but then it's not all sweet. You try to assault all the taste buds you can on your tongue.
And have a little celebration all over your tongue. And it matters in what order you put it in. So, your last two remaining ingredients, and this is oil and honey.
Right.
You're gonna, let's buzz this now, you're saying. Okay. I noticed that you didn't add the oil and the honey until it was completely mixed.
Trying to get it
Once it was mixed, then you added the others to emulsify the mixture. Right, so we're getting our pan hot for the home cook. About what? Medium, medium high?
Medium high, especially if you're using Teflon. It tends to smoke if the pan gets too hot. You don't want it that hot.
So maybe
medium high.
All right, and we're going to add oil. We're going to wait till this gets hot before we put the oil in?
We can probably
We
go
can do
ahead
it now?
Yeah,
Okay.
Not a whole lot. I mean, we are going to be, even though we're calling it pan searing, we are sauteing.
And let's talk about this gorgeous salmon fillet. You know, when you go to your fishmonger, what are we looking for when we select our salmon?
Well, you want it to look. You want it to look good in the case.
Yes.
And it needs to look. It'll look fresh. You don't want a layer of film on it. You can kind of see how that, where it just looks old. It doesn't look like it was taken care of. That's not what you're looking for. You can actually ask to smell the fillet.
You know what, Chef? I asked to smell the fillet. I am buying this, and it should not smell fishy.
It should not smell like fish.
It should either have no smell at all, or I've been told smell like the sea. And if it smells, put it back in the case and ask for another piece of fish. Okay, so we have selected a gorgeous piece of salmon here. And how are we going to season it, Chef?
We're just going to keep this really nice and simple.
Because we've got wonderful fish.
We've got wonderful fish. We've got wonderful colors. We don't want any flavor really overpowering the others. We're just trying to add complexity.
So kosher salt, fresh cracked pepper.
Black pepper.
And are we going to do that on both sides? We are. And kosher salt, and please don't use table salt. It has an anti-caking agent in it, and it's not your best flavor.
And kosher salt doesn't have iodine in it either.
Right. And fresh cracked pepper makes all the difference in the world. Now, how do we know when the pan is ready?
I turned it off because it was getting hot.
Okay.
It's only going to take a second. It's like when it starts to shimmer. See how the oil is kind of.
Yes. So when the oil in the pan begins to shimmer, then we know it's ready for our salmon.
Because when you put it in there, it should make noise.
You want to hear it doing that. And do you like to bring your fish up to room temperature, or can it come right out of the refrigerator? What do you recommend?
I like to try to keep it as fresh as long as possible. So I just leave it. I just
really
take it
cool.
out.
Okay.
I don't really think about that. I don't think that.
Because I know certain meats or chicken you want to,
now
but not.
I do that. If I'm doing like prime rib,
Yeah.
that we'll bring it out and let it sit at room temperature until we throw it in the oven, just because it decreases the cooking time a little bit.
Okay, and less likely to dry it out.
Absolutely.
Do you do the same thing with chicken?
No.
No. You don't let it get up to no.
I don't let the chicken.
Okay. We're not going to take any chances with that little chick. No.
The chicken's going to go right to the
All right, so now this is
We're going to drop it in here. We're going to drop it away from you.
away from you, so the object is to cook the fish and not us. And then while it's cooking,
See, it's already starting. It's starting to smoke. I want to get a crust on it, but I don't. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit.
okay. And you did something else that we can't forget to do. If it's too hot, lift the pan off the flame until it gets to a more manageable level of heat. So then while that's cooking, are we...
So what we're trying to do is we want to caramelize it. We want to caramelize it on the outside because the color is not only going to add, eye appeal, it's actually going to add a lot of flavor. So see that we'll have a nice little crust on the outside. And then the center is going to be, it's got the fattiness of the salmon and the creaminess of it. So you'll have crispy on the outside and creamy in the middle, which is a great way to have salmon.
That's the color we're going for.
We're going to do fresh avocado.
And fresh, so yes.
You want it to just have a little bit of give. When if you feel like really pockets of mush,
Don't do
it's way
Yeah.
overripe.
Yeah.
You should just start to get just a little bit of give.
Okay. Oh, that salmon smells divine.
What we do is we just kind of split it all the way around the seed, and then we open it up. Okay, and that one looks pretty good.
Yep, looks
Now
great.
what I do is I take my knife, just
Do
give it
that
a
little twist. That is simple enough. Okay. So how do you cut?
Now we're gonna. What
Yeah.
I'm gonna do is I like to just go ahead and do it right here in the skin.
Okay. And that
ahead and
really
dice it.
helps you manage the avocado much better if you dice it in the skin. So we've diced it, and look at that. It just comes out all ready to go.
Okay. Scoop it right out.
Great technique for your avocado.
And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna season that.
So right while it's freshly cut is a good time to season it. Fresh cracked pepper.
Or a little bit of salt. Everything in the avocado, if you get them in peak ripeness, you don't really need a whole lot.
Not too much.
Okay, so next we're gonna do our fresh mango.
And again, you're not looking for something that's, if it started to wrinkle and get gushy, you don't.
This has got some discoloration on the outside, but I think the ones that we cut up a while ago, they look fine.
Yeah.
But this should be the same as the avocado. It should be just a little
Slight
bit blunt,
give.
but slight give, and
And
not
I
too
say
much.
look juicy.
That
leaves-
looks like it's going to taste really good.
Yeah, it does.
Now what I do is I'll cut it at the bottom and the top. Now this is where if you're not real handy with your knife,
Yep.
you can just use a vegetable peeler and
Okay.
take the skin off. But at
But
work,
we
we do several of these at a time that, we're trying to find for most of us, this is the fastest way to do it.
And you've secured it by cutting off the bottom, and it's more stable to work with.
And I do this also, you do it the same way with like cantaloupes and, honeydew.
So remember that for round oblong fruits, that you can manage it much better if you just give it a little stand.
This is narrower on one side and fat on the other.
Yeah,
okay?
so that's how
the
you
seed
follow
the seed lives in there,
Uh-huh.
and it's flat and it's pretty long. So what I do is you try to find it, and you get as close as you can,
To cut down the
and
waist.
then cut down the waist.
There you go.
And I cut it around the outside. And we'll cut.
See how our fingers are kept curled under because we only want to cut mango, not fingers.
Now,
There we go.
now this is
Okay.
what you snack on. This is the
I
best.
know.
That's the best part.
You have to have some nutrition while you're cooking so you don't keel over or whatever. All right, so now we've got them ready to go.
We're just going to small dice them, so we're just going to
A similar size dice to the avocado.
to that. I'm just going to leave it as is. Because we-
So that's sweet. It doesn't really need seasoning. It's
really.
going to have some basil vinaigrette around it anyway.
And if
so.
it really wasn't, as ripe as you thought when you picked it up, you could always put just a little bit of sugar on it.
And remember that
And
it's
you don't-
not a huge amount, but just enough to give
not-
it some sweetness.
You're not trying, and you're not trying to make it sweet. All you're trying to do
Right.
is to put in what nature would have done had it
Had more
got
time.
ripe,
Yeah.
right?
And what we have
So
here is
it-
an English hothouse cucumber, and you notice that it hardly has any seeds, so you do not see this. Correct? And it smells so fresh. And the beauty of the English hothouse cucumber is that you keep the skin on. The skin is crunchy and flavorful. It's not bitter like its cousin the cucumber.
Right.
And look at that. Oh, it just smells like summer.
So then they usually pack it in plastic as opposed to paraffin wax on
There
the
you
outside.
go. So that's probably contributes to its fresh taste as well. We have some beautiful heirloom tomatoes. We can't say, enough good things about our heirloom tomatoes. They actually taste like
They actually
tomatoes.
taste like I got a story.
Okay, let's hear the story. We love stories.
Well, the farmers in California they were losing 25% of their crop of tomatoes, trying to get them to market, when they were fresh growing them. And so they employed the University of Davis to come up with a tomato that could be picked green, could be picked by a machine,
Yes.
and it's tough-skinned enough that it would tolerate shipping. And that's what we got.
And that's what we
And
got.
it tastes like cardboard most of the time.
You close your eyes and you're not exactly sure what you're eating.
So what we're going to do, I like to do,
And these are locally grown.
These are
here.
locally grown.
Yeah.
is that
And we're September. We're still getting tomatoes
got
off the
about
vine.
the 21st of October.
So this is good tomato.
And look how
at that
juicy it is.
tomato. Oh,
I'm just
heaven.
going to kind of cut up around the stem.
And again, it's a similar sized dice to the other vegetables that we've been preparing for the dish. And the beauty of heirlooms is you get the different colors, and that, again, is our...
And they all taste different.
They do.
Some of them are sweeter, some of them are more acidic. You know, they've all got different flavor profiles. So when you mix them together, you get a little bit of all of that.
All right, Chef, we finished chopping the tomatoes. What else are we going to add to them?
These we want to. I want to add a little bit of, basil that goes so well with tomatoes.
And it's also in the vinaigrette,
It's
so
gonna kind of tie it all together.
It does.
Because this would be without all the acid that we have.
And please remember to use the sharp knife.
Makes it easy.
Look at that. So, and then now what else are we going to do? A little olive oil on our...
Oil.
So we're going to put some red wine vinegar on the hothouse cucumber.
A little bit of salt. There's salt on our tomatoes.
Yes.
Fresh pepper. And some of that there too.
Okay, Chef, are we ready to plate now?
We are ready to plate.
We are ready to plate. Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and this week we are in the kitchen at Rozzelle Court with their executive chef, Dwight Hawkins, at the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. And Chef has just prepared pan-seared salmon. He has diced and dressed avocado, mango, English cucumber, and locally grown heirloom tomatoes. Now, Chef, we've got some very exciting celebrity tasters coming, and we know that we eat with our eyes first. So, how do we plate this work of art?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little stack.
Okay.
So we're going to have layers of color and flavors and textures.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the avocado. And we'll put that in the bottom.
All right, and after you do yours, then I'm going to go do mine.
And then-
you can use a variety of objects for your stacking. What else could you use? This is what is this, PVC or whatever they call
This
it?
is PVC.
Okay, PVC.
And then we're going to use, I'm just using a squirt bottle. You can use whatever's really handy for you.
Okay.
But that'll help tamp it down. And keep it
Kitchen
in
tools.
place.
So
Yep.
now we're using our kitchen tools to. Okay, next.
And we're going to take our mango. Try to find the ripest one you can.
And again, the mango needs to not be all wrinkly. It needs
mushy.
Yeah, mushy. You don't want that. It's overripe. It's not going to have the flavors or, frankly, the nutritional value. All right, this hand I did not use avocado with, so. Okay, the next.
Then we're going to tamp a little bit more.
Tamp more. Tamp more, thank you.
We're just going to put a layer.
And the good thing
cucumber.
about the English hothouse cucumbers is they're seedless.
They are seedless.
And the skin actually provides a wonderful flavor, a crunch, but it doesn't have the bitterness of a regular cucumber.
And they wrap them in plastic because I don't think they put wax on them. Like a lot of the regular cucumbers, they have that paraffin wax on the outside.
I can already tell I built quite a stack here.
You got a stack.
Okay, and next.
And then we're going to put our heirloom tomatoes.
Those tomatoes are exquisite. We've got a yellow one and a red one. Again, the yellow has a little less acid, easier on your tummy, but the flavors are magnificent.
I've just marinated those a little bit in some olive oil and salt and pepper.
Okay, look at mine. I mean, I've got Mount Vesuvius here.
You have a tower.
I have a tower.
I'm going to take, this is about a 6-ounce fillet, and see I've cooked it where it's just a little bit opaque right in the center, so it's not dry. And we're just going to kind of just tear this piece through my hands.
Look how gorgeous and juicy
I like it just
this
like
is.
medium rare as opposed to being, really.
And I'm hearing this more and more from our chefs, not to get too rare with your foods, because what you're doing is you're not getting the full flavor when it's that. I really did create a mountain here.
Okay. Well, we're going to see if we can do this. Now you got to tamp it down pretty good so it stays in place.
Get a
And then we're
nosebleed eating mine. Okay.
We're going to treat that with a little TLC.
Well, we're gonna have to treat it
Let's see
blood.
here.
So
Okay, get your tool here again.
my tool.
Yeah.
I need to do more tamping
And,
apparently.
now you're just going to hold it and lift this up at the same time so it doesn't go, so we can kind of. Oh no, that didn't work too well.
No, it didn't.
This is
Except
chopped
now
salad.
mine is a chopped salad. So, you know, a lesson learned, and that is that if it comes out like this, your guests have no idea that it wasn't supposed to look like this. Here we go. Now we're going to see how it actually was intended to look.
Well, so that's hopefully I have a little better luck. I'm just gonna make sure I tamp it really nice.
It's gorgeous. Now that is the way it's supposed to look. As compared to, this is the chopped salad version of the same dish. And now, that basil vinaigrette we made earlier. And here it comes. And be as creative as you would like with this. You can make little dots, you can make little squiggles.
Yeah.
Of course, we're gonna do it the way you do it. Can I make little
Here,
squiggles
sure,
on mine
you can
since
do
mine's such a
whatever you
disaster?
like.
Here we're gonna do little, yes, dots.
Do some of these beautiful microgreens.
Those are microgreens, and they're flowers. You can use them in salads. You can use them to garnish anything. This basil vinaigrette.
Just little beet sprouts.
Oh, chef, that is a work of art and so appropriate for the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. Now this, we don't even know what we're going to call it, but here we go. How much fun. The version that didn't work and the version that does, but they're both wonderful. Thank you for inviting us into your kitchen. We are going to take these up for our celebrity tasters, Roger and Vivian from Rainy Day Books. Why don't you come with us for the tasting? Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and we have just been in the kitchen with Executive Chef Dwight Hawkins here at Rozzelle Court at the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. Chef and I have prepared a pan-seared salmon with chopped fresh vegetables, a basil vinaigrette topped with edible flowers. What to drink with this signature dish? To answer that question, we have the Director of Food and Beverages here, Murray Gorman. Murray, what should we drink with this magnificent dish?
Well, with the complexity of the salmon being grilled, I've got two wines.
Okay.
And I've got one that's a people's choice, a white wine. The other one would be more of an adventuresome drinker, which would be a Pinot Noir. The first one is Four Graces.
Yes.
Pinot Gris from Oregon. It's a deliciously bright, crisp wine. On the nose, we'll have lemon. We'll have a little honeysuckle and Asian pear. On the palate, we'll have Granny Smith apples. We'll have a little bit of red grapefruit and key lime. It has interesting minerality and acidity that's balanced with the nice floral notes of the wine. It has a rich, silky finish, a nice mouthfeel, which is indicative of a great Pinot Gris. The second wine is more of an adventuresome drinker. It's a Pinot Noir, also from Oregon.
Yes.
A to Z is the name. It has a little more red and blueberries, or a little more red and blue fruit.
Yes.
Nice red cherries in there. Has a little more tannins, a little more heavier wine for the fish, but the grilled salmon can take that note very well.
So it's just a personal preference.
Right.
And to taste these selections of yours, we have invited Roger and Vivian from Rainy Day Books. They're taking time out from their busy schedule to come and taste the food and the wine that you've paired with it. Thank you, Murray.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and this week we are in the kitchen at Rozzelle Court in the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. Chef and I have been busy in his kitchen preparing a signature dish, and Murray has paired it with some wine. And now we've invited tasters, celebrity tasters from Rainy Day Books, Roger and Vivian. Thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule at Rainy Day Books to come and taste with us. Gentlemen, I want you to know the one that I made didn't turn out looking exactly like that.
Thank you, Murray.
Oh, boy.
Going for the deconstructed look.
Chef, please tell our celebrity tasters what we have.
Got pan-seared salmon.
Yes.
We've did little layers of really summertime flavors. We've got avocado, mango, cucumber, and we've got some locally grown heirloom tomatoes. They were all just really simply seasoned. I just wanted to be, let all the food just kind of, just let it all sing. I think everything works really well together. We caramelized the salmon on the outside to give it a little bit extra. And you really taste the sugars in the salmon. I hope you enjoy it.
Made it into nice little towers.
My nice little
He
towers.
did. You should see with this. It's a trick how he did it. But you can see it when you come to In the Kitchen with Bonnie.com. And then Murray, what wines are you suggesting that we pair with this?
Well, I've got two. I did a bold selection and a one I think would fit really well. The more traditional white is a Four Graces Pinot Gris from Oregon, and the other one is A to Z Pinot Noir, which is also from Oregon.
Okay.
So enjoy.
Okay, bon appetit. Now,
you.
now your assignment is to taste this.
Such a hard job.
I
Ladies
know.
first.
Oh, okay, not necessary. And then tumbling down. Chef put edible flowers on top. There's a basil vinaigrette that he put around here.
Delicious.
Kind of deconstructing the tower a little bit.
Oh my word. I have to say that the first thing that you notice is the presentation is so, it excites you like the cover of a book that you really like. Like the presentation was so neat.
Because we eat with
Beautiful.
our eyes first.
Yes.
And so you were excited about this dish before you ever took a bite. Right. Of course, the excitement is continued once we start eating it.
Yes. Oh,
The English cucumber, you'll notice the skin is on it because it is a variety that isn't bitter, it's seedless, and it just adds crunch, but that fresh taste continues with the dish.
well, the medley of flavors is so interesting, I think. The heirloom tomatoes,
And peaches.
heirloom tomatoes actually have a taste.
How about that?
They actually
but we
taste like
haven't- Yes, we haven't modified them genetically.
My grandpa used to grow tomatoes that actually tasted in these tastes.
Is
yes.
this reminiscent of that?
Yes,
It
yes.
is, isn't it?
Well, the-
Roger, what are you
The
tasting?
texture, the temperature, the visual part, the aroma, the wonderful way it feels on my tongue and my palate. It's a great blend of all these different flavors, and they're distinct, they're individual, meaning that you can taste the peach like a fresh peach right off of a tree, or a fresh heirloom tomato just picked right off the vine. And the salmon tastes like it was just caught. And everything is wonderful. The herbs, they're just a very great blend of flavors, textures. I think it's wonderful.
The edible flowers, I think, are sort of like the dressing or the icing on the cake, but they also lend flavor to it in addition to the visual excitement of it. And
I have one right there.
Rainy Day Books. I mean, we should thank you not only for taking time out to come and taste this delicious food, but you have made such an incredible contribution to our community by bringing us closer to the authors that excite us and intrigue us and educate us. I think it matters in the same way that our chefs, getting closer to our chefs, knowing what inspires them, learning about their journey to this profession, that having the opportunity to get up close with the author, these many authors, is added to our enjoyment of reading. And you all have done an incredible job in Kansas City with that, and I want to thank you for doing that. It is, of course, my moment, meeting Ina Garten, who's one of my heroes, and I told her so.
She's so nice, but that's what it's all about. It's about the experience, Bonnie, and that's what dining here at Rozzelle Court is about. We have such a great experience here. We love to come here on Friday nights, and they have music, and they have lights, and it's really so beautiful, and the food is always so great. But
White is an amazing chef.
You get the food and you have this experience because you have the atmosphere. The minute that I walk through those doors,
It ends your
I
week
just-
in calm.
yes.
The culture, the community,
Calm down.
And
So all of your senses, you know, the visual, the beauty of not only the artwork, but of Rozzelle Court. And the food is beautiful. They frequently have music, so just all of your senses are celebrating at once.
And I
The
love the
nights-
fountain. The sound of the fountain is so tranquil and so.
we always throw coins in and make
Yeah, we
wishes.
Make a wish. Every time we leave.
I mean, you've been doing this with children, grandchildren. I have too. The Nelson is that one of our treasures in Kansas City, and it has really helped to inspire my son and give him a sense of appreciation. I know your children and one of them fell in the fountain. That happens.
We had dinner here recently on a Friday night. We took a picture of the fountain. My granddaughter just went to college, and we sent her a picture by email of the fountain because we said, remember when you kept walking around and we kept telling you not to walk so close, and she fell in and got her shoes wet, survived. But happy memories.
It is happy memories, and there have been a lot of happy memories right here for so many of us in Kansas City and our tourists. We had a Rabakoff reunion, and we wanted to show off Kansas City, and we began that reunion with the Nelson Atkins Museum.
And they made you proud.
It made me proud. We got to show off, and they served us well. Now, there's a second part to this assignment. The wines. Sipping both the white and red that Murray has suggested. Tell us what you think. How does it work with food
Ladies first.
and to life?
Yes. In the kitchen with Bonnie.
To life in the kitchen with Bob.
It's a wonderful Pinot Gris.
It's
which is
fresh,
my
it's
favorite.
crisp, it's flavorful. It's like
How's it working with this dish?
It's very
Very well.
complimentary. It accents
very
all
well.
the different complex flavors and textures. It's very wonderful.
Okay, let's try the red. And some people are just red fans, and what Murray was trying to do was provide something for them.
Look how clear it is. You can see right through it. It's wonderful. You
A
know,
little bolder.
to me, it's like a red version of the white. It's clear, it's crisp, it's flavorful. It accents the flavors of what we're eating, complements the salmon very well. Works really well with the avocado and the peach and everything. It all blends together so well.
You know, it's very smooth. I don't normally drink red wine.
Very smooth,
It's
yes.
very smooth.
Both of them.
And so I like it because often red wine for me is a little bit somehow bitter or acidic or something like that.
some tannins
A little
and some other things
aftertaste
going on.
more than white does. This is delicious. It's very smooth and it really blends very well with the food.
Thank you. Thank you for providing such great literary opportunities for us in Kansas City. We appreciate everything that both of you do and continue to do. And I want to wish you well.
The best customers and the best community in Kansas City, and they should enjoy
I
both
agree
Rainy
with
Day Books and Nelson Atkins Museum, Rozzelle Court.
I agree with you then. And that's one of the surprises that tourists find, the huge amount of culture, the beauty of this city, and just how warm and wonderful we are.
And also, that's
Kansas
one
City.
quick thing to say is that the staff here,
Yes.
they are the icing on the cake as far as the experience because they are wonderful.